fight to end HIV and AIDS by 2030. So today on the show, we seek to understand the emerging trends and approaches as far as the high number of new infections among the young people and some of the possible solutions. Is it time that we change tactic, we change the approach, and even change the messaging when it comes to the young people? Because you speak to young people, they'll tell you, listen, abstinence, that's not working anymore, all right? So what is the approach that we should be taking so that we reduce the high number of new infections amongst the young people? You want to stick around until the end of the show. But again, if you want to contribute, feel free to interact with us on our social media platforms at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. But at the same time, give us a call. Our lines are officially open. And let me introduce my guests for this very important conversation. And on my immediate left, we have Peter Mwangi, who is a HIV and AIDS youth champion, very passionate, living positively, but also very passionate about talking about HIV and AIDS, and especially amongst the young people. So it's good to have you this morning. How are you doing? Karibu sana. And thank you really accepting to also share your story with us as well this morning. And then next to him, we have Aska Omwansha, who is the nursing officer, AHF Kenya, Maria Clinic. Good to have you this morning. Again, passionate about HIV and AIDS, right? And talking to and especially to the young people. And I look forward to hear what you have to say, and especially when it comes to young girls. As far as HIV and AIDS is concerned, because again, the numbers would say they are more at risk as compared to the boys. So why is that the case, and what we need to do when it comes to the approach of the same? And last but not least, we have Douglas Bosire, who is the officer in charge of County Support Programs, National Syndemic Disease Control Council. Good to have you this morning. Formerly, right? Yeah. But formerly NAC.
Formerly National AIDS Control Council.
Okay, right. All right. Good to have you as well this morning, to have again this very important conversation that honestly we should be having every single day, not just wait for World AIDS Day in December for us to talk about HIV and AIDS, right? But let me just start with you. What do the numbers look like? 1.4 million people are living with HIV and AIDS here in the country, right? Yeah. So what do the numbers look like? And especially among the young people, because like we're saying, the number of new infections keep rising by the day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Winnie, and thank you to NTV for having us this morning for this very important conversation.
Most welcome.
Winnie, as you rightly put it, we have made significant gains in our race against time to win the war against HIV and AIDS as a public health threat. Since the first case of HIV was diagnosed in this country in 1984, several gains have been garnered, particularly through the early 2000s. From a time of desperation, anxiety, fear in the 1990s, when we had no form of treatment to suppress the virus, to the 2000s, when we had very robust treatment programs around the country. We have seen prevalence and incidence rates actually begin to fall. In the mid-90s, we were losing as many people as 200,000 per year. Right now, in the year 2022, we lost about 18,000 lives due to HIV. Yes, it's a movement, it's a gain, but it's not quick enough, because when you translate 18,000 lives lost, that's an equivalent of about 52 lives lost every day. To this virus. Again, in terms of the new infections, from highs of about 71,000 in the year about 2010. Now, last year, we had about 22,000 new infections, meaning that we are making progress. However, we have a bubble that is starting to concern us. Kenya is a generally young population. 59% of our population are young people, below 24 years of age. However, we are seeing that among these 22,000 new infections that we had in the year 2022, 41% of them occurred in youth and young people aged between 15 and 24 years. That is a reason for concern. If you widen that bracket a little bit to the age of 34, you find that all the new infections, out of all the new infections that occurred last year, 75% of them occurred among youths and young people between the age of 15 and 34.
And 30,
so that is a worrisome trend, because this is the population cohort that is supposed to give us the demographic dividend going forward economically.
Yeah.
Therefore, we risk growing our population and transitioning our population into the working age, which is ill and which will be dependent on treatment. And the treatment program for HIV and is not cheap.
That's true.
Every year, we have about 1.32 million Kenyans who are currently on treatment, and it costs the country 25 billion Kenyan shillings to keep them on treatment.
Yeah.
So we have to close that new tap of the new infections so that we can save these resources for socio-economic development of the country.
Absolutely.
That's yes.
Absolutely. And we'll also come to you to understand the triple threat, right?
Thank you.
As far as HIV and AIDS is concerned, especially among the young girls.
Yes.
And just get to understand so then how interlinked they are, and how we can prevent again the new infections still from the same, and especially with the risk that it comes about. But Aska, very quickly, you work with young people, right? And just listening to the numbers, first of all, how much of a concern is that for you? And number two, what are some of these emerging trends? Because you speak to so many young people, they'll tell you, and especially the girls, they'll be like, me, I'd rather, HIV as compared to pregnancy. None is better, right? Because we want these girls to be safe. We want them to be in school. We want them to have a productive life so that they do not miss out on these milestones. But what are some of these emerging trends that concern you as a person working with really young people?
Okay, thank you so much, NTV. And thank you, of course, Mr. Bosire for being here.
Yeah.
And Kasim, of course.
Yeah.
And maybe before we go too far, I work for AIDS Healthcare Foundation, which is an NGO that is glad to contribute to this fight against HIV and AIDS. And we are an international NGO based in LA, but we have a local chapter. So at least you know who we are. So let's go to the question. What are the trends? So number one, we've seen that most young girls, they're actually not worried about being sick, as you said, but they're worried about being pregnant, which is worrying.
Very worrying.
Because HIV you get infected the same way you get pregnant. So he will explain the triple threat, but yes, that is the first emerging one. And then the second one, I think our young girls don't have information as they should. You know, back then we used to have the aunties who, when you're like 10, when you get to your teenage, you have aunties who would sit you down and talk to you and tell you, oh, you see now, what do you see in front of you? Oh, your breasts are coming, your period has come, so you need to start behaving a certain way. Right now you can become a mother anytime. And they have some kind of information. But the trends are changing. Now young girls are getting information from different places, media, friends, which definitely is not 100% right. So I think there's a lot of misinformation. And also a big lack of information. Yes, which is actually the main thing.
Yeah, and that is very concerning because someone would say, but we're in 2023. We have all the resources, available, but still to have the level of information low, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be be done in that in that area, right?
For sure, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I see that. So Peter, very quickly before we even get to your story, you're a very young person who's very open and passionate, as far as holding conversations with your fellow young people as far as HIV and AIDS is concerned. What is it that they're saying? What is it that they're telling you? Because again, just listening to what Aska is saying, there's lack of information, which is very concerning. But other than that, what is it that these young people are saying?
So, thank you, NTV, for hosting me here today.
Most welcome,
about the young people talking about the HIV, first, they are not free.
Okay. All right.
Because when you come, let me give an example in Madare. When you come and speak to young people about HIV, many people shy off.
Okay.
Why? Because there's no more information. As much as we say there's information in the community, everyone will tell you, like, when you ask Dr. Bosire, that do you feel like young people in the community, they have the information?
Yeah.
Maybe you can say yes, they have, but the information is not clear about them, and also the messaging about the young people. You can't tell me you will sit on the board and then you come up with something that is not for the young people.
Nothing for us. I remember that campaign. Nothing for us without us. Yes. Okay.
So when you want something to reach to the young people, let's bring them on board.
Okay.
Even before the implementation, let's bring them the conversation on the board.
Okay.
Tell us, this is the what we have them. Do you feel like it fits them?
Yeah.
Or does it fit whatever the young people are facing now? And we tell you, yes, it is, or it is not.
Okay.
So, but when you come with the conversation of the community after you have sitting on the board, come up with the conclusion, you're just bringing out the food to eat.
Yeah.
But you have not taught me how to cook it.
That's true. That's true.
And how we have cooked it. Will I eat it if it's ready?
Okay.
No. So start with me from the
word go. Okay. So inclusion is key. Young people want to be included in this conversation, and also the lack of the messaging. I really like the fact that you're saying the messaging is not right for the young people. Yes. Okay, so and then I'll just ask you as a young person. So, what would be right in terms of messaging? Is it a language that the young people would understand? Is it in a way that is friendly to them? Because again, you also speak to young people. They'll tell you, yeah, like visiting the healthcare facilities, we don't get the services that we need because there's a lot of stigma and judgment and all those things. So when you're talking about messaging, is it more in terms of the way the young people can relate to, or what exactly is that like?
Yeah, also it's about how the young people relate to.
Okay.
Because now there's new language about Sheng. Now, if you bring the young person about your handbook, or let me say a flyer, it's written on about on English only. Yeah. There's no Sheng.
And scientific.
Scientific words and scientific diagram. Yeah. Everything on that paper is about scientific. Yeah. It's not speak about the young people. And also when you talk about the health facility. Yeah. So many young people fear going to the health facility. And if you feel like, if you get a young person at the health facility, it's either they are bedridden or they have STI.
So it's scary.
Yes.
Okay.
But about more than that, no.
Okay.
So how can we bring them feel free to come to the health facility? Let the health facility be youth friendly. Okay. Let the person sitting at the youth desk be youth friendly. As we are not talking about the young person to be there, but let that person be youth friendly. Let them give the right information to the young people.
To this young people.
They stop judging the young people. Because when you some of the health facility will come, you'll give your experience, you share. Maybe you are going through the gonorrhea, you have gonorrhea, you have. They will go behind the back again, start talking about you. Yeah. You see?
Okay.
And then definitely you talked about the young girls fearing getting pregnant with the HIV. Yeah. It's true. Many young people, many young girls, they don't fear getting it to the young people with the right information. Let them be friendly with them. Let them be open. Let them have confidentiality.
I see.
There's something also kills people, confidentiality. And maybe the person working at the youth-friendly services is someone around the community. Now after getting out the health facility, utapata story of community. Yeah. Unajua ule demba ndio anakuwa na gonorrhea.
Yeah. Nobody wants, nobody wants that.
Yes.
I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, just to jump in and pick it up from where Peter's left it. The HIV epidemic in this country, Winnie, has undergone a changing phase. Sure. There have been changing phase of the epidemic. If you look at the 90s, the terrible 90s, evidence of HIV was more to do with how you look. If I walk into a restaurant and I've lost weight all of a sudden, and I've, or rather have a thin frame because of my genealogy, people would run away from my table because they would think that this person now has HIV.
Yeah.
Because why? We did not have treatment. We did not have medication to suppress the virus. However, with the introduction of the antiretrovirals, we have seen a huge population of people. If you want to know how an HIV positive person looks like, look at me. Look at Askaya. Look at yourself.
That's true.
That's how the HIV positive person looks like today.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a result, the young people we have today, the ones who are born, the millennials who are born in the 2000s, the Gen Z, you know, all those, they have never seen somebody with advanced HIV condition, or actually what we call AIDS.
That's true.
They have not seen those villages and homesteads in Nyanza, which were dotted with graves. 5, 6, 7, 10 graves. The father, the daughter, the niece, the grandparents, graves. They have not seen that. So as a result, we have kids who have been born today to HIV positive parents, but they are negative due to what we call elimination of mother to child transmission. And when you talk to them about HIV being a deadly virus, which can lead to a debilitating disease called AIDS, they do not understand what you're talking about. That is why you know, most of them tend to fear what is seen than what is unseen. However, as Peter has put it, also look at the financing scenario and the transitions in HIV financing. Kenya is now a lower middle income country, meaning that we are slowly separating from donor funding reliance. Most of the HIV response, the funding for the HIV response, this country now and hitherto has been supported by donors and foreign countries, particularly the American people, and I'm happy our partner here, AHF, is also one of those partners supported by the American people, and also the Global Fund. However, with the time and with emerging other competing interests, look at COVID. When COVID came, all the attention of the world was diverted towards COVID-19, and you can see even from our data what that meant to our HIV response in this country. And therefore, that's why we are saying the gains we have made, although we are happy and proud to talk about them, but they are very fragile. So we have to look for sustainable, resilient mechanisms locally to continue this conversation. And that is why when I hear young people like Peter coming here and openly speaking about their status, openly speaking about the language, openly engaging and becoming champions towards ending HIV, new HIV infections, we feel very proud, because this is the crop of people now to whom we should hand over the baton so that they can continue the discussion amongst their groups. So the resources that we had, which made very robust campaigns and dialogues across the country, are no longer there. So what are we trying to do? We have to build this critical mass of community gatekeepers, be they people living with HIV, be they village elders, be they nyumba kumi, be they religious leaders, so that this conversation is held, and parents and teachers as well, because we have a very big role to play. As a father, can I sit down with my daughter and talk to her about her sexuality, not having sex, but about her sexuality, her perceptions and experiences, and how her attitudes and values will affect the way she relates with boys, so that she can make scientifically evident decisions which will reduce our risks of one, getting infections from HIV, and the other, syndemic conditions. The word syndemic now comes in here. So because the syndemic conditions are like what Peter was talking about, new other sexually transmitted infections, gonorrhea, syphilis, and all the rest. The pregnancies, those are syndemics. It's unfortunate, Winnie, and you talked about the triple threat. Evidence that sex is happening among youth can only be seen when you go to a health facility and you go to the antenatal care clinic. Last year alone in this country, 260,000 children between the age of 10 and 19 presented with pregnancies at our health facility in the country. 260,000. Out of those 260,000, about 15,000 were children aged between 10 and 14 years. I don't know how old your daughter is. I have a daughter who is 16. So you may, and she's watching. So when we look at this age and a girl falls pregnant at 11,
That means then their sexual debut
is early.
It's very early.
Yeah, they begin early. They begin early. They begin even at 9. We have seen at 8, sexual debut begins. Right? As we are here and our kids are at home, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're watching. So this conversation that you talk about
should be
open, honest discussion with children, whether we are parents, whether we are religious leaders in church, should be taking place.
And call things as they are. I mean, growing up, as we were told, you shake hands with boys, you get pregnant.
Yes.
So you grow up with that fear, right, of getting pregnant.
Yes.
And some of those things, you know, the terms that were hidden and used like this different terms that you did not understand, but you try to get the message, and the message was more of fear than understand.
Exactly.
And that's why we said earlier on, is it time that then we change the messaging, like Peter said, in a language that these young people can understand, and not live in fear, but live from, again, what you're saying, and that is make informed choices and decisions every single day. There's a time we visited AHF facility, and one of the things that we realized, number one, there's no condom. Right on the entrance, you know, the dispenser that is there weren't. And young people were saying, listen, we cannot deny the fact that these young people are engaging in intercourse. That is given, okay? So we cannot hide from that. So why not provide enough resources and, you know, things that they need to protect themselves, not only from pregnancy, but also, you know, STIs as well. So when we come back from the break, Aska, I want you to take us from there. But also, again, hear from Peter as well, in terms of you are a young person living positively. What are your needs, and how best would you say as a young person your needs will be met to, number one, suppress the viral load, but at the same time also speaking to the other young people, some of the needs in terms of preventing the new infection. So we'll pick up the conversation from there after the break. But remember, if you have any question, a comment, you want to call in live or engage with us on our social media platforms, that is readily available for you, and we'll be sampling your feedback after the break. Stay with us. This is Your World.
Tune in to NTV every weekend at 9 a.m. for Kids Adventures, the ultimate cartoon extravaganza. Don't miss the laughter, fun, and magic.
Selfish, 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 selfish. Hey.
And it's not just about entertainment, it's also about teaching valuable life lessons.
Let's practice sneezing into your elbow. Achoo! Yay! You did it!
I'm going to show you how to decorate a bottle using glitters. Let's go.
Trying to be an OG like me, chasing dreams, pulling more schemes for wealth. But the best thing
is seems nice and bright and everything feels alright. I went to school without a fool, trying to pick a fight. I was loped out, crisscross shirts. Now I feel
you know you got to have on. You know you got
for the best of the 2000s, tune in every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Sunday from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight.
So live your life.
Rhythm and flow.
Taking you back in the day.
Nation FM.
Daring Abroad makes me dare.
It's the only show of its kind in the world. And now, it's bigger.
And even more entertaining and informative than before.
Hapa kunaitwa Kakoe na inatubaba sana.
From London to Jersey Island.
Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo, to the scenic features of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
And many more places abroad and at home.
I watch Daring Abroad. I like the stories which people bring.
Daring Abroad every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. with repeats every Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on NTV.
Benefits of ordering with Glovo. Glovo allows you to order anything you want at the comfort and convenience of your home. Craving fried chicken or pilau or pizza? Easy and simple. Order on Glovo today. Glovo, order anything, we deliver in minutes. With Glovo you order anything unataka and when you get it una celebrate because kukuchoma imefika na wakati keki inafika ndio sherehe inaanza. Order Glovo will deliver in minutes.
Show off your best skin with Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Body Lotion. Now with 5-in-1 Complete Care. The deeply nourishing formula prevents your skin from drying with precious cocoa butter and deep moisture for smooth and healthy looking skin. Step out in confidence with our most complete care from the world's #1 skincare brand.
Imagine 10 people you know and love. Imagine if any of them needed blood immediately. This is a reality. Every 10 minutes, 10 people in Kenya need blood. Be it a mother in a maternity ward, an accident case, a surgery, or even a lifelong medical condition. These people need your help. Why don't you be their hero? Your timely voluntary blood donations will ensure our blood banks never dry up. Save a life today. Donate blood regularly at a county blood donation satellite near you. Changia damu, okoa maisha. Be the lifeline.
All right, welcome back. 37 minutes past the hour. Time really flies. We have very few minutes left to conclude the conversation. And you're saying it's a very important conversation that we should have on a daily basis and not wait for a specific day that is 1st of December on World AIDS Day for us to have such conversations. And we're saying the trends have shifted right now. We're seeing a lot of new infections, and especially among the young people. And the question remains, is it time that we change the approach, the messaging, and the tactics? And this is as far as the fight against HIV and AIDS, because we have a goal, 2030. We need to have ended HIV and AIDS. I wonder where we are at, Douglas, very quickly. Where are we? And especially the 1990. I think we had surpassed the 95,
yes.
95,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You find that among adults, Winnie, we are doing pretty well.
Okay.
We are at 97, 92. That means 97% of the adults be above 15 years who know, who are HIV positive, know their status. And among those who know their status, 97% are on treatment.
Yeah.
And among those who are on treatment, 92% are virally suppressed.
Okay.
However, look,
when
you come when you come to this cohort of these young people between 15 and 24, that's where the problem comes. Because among that cohort, only 69% know their status among the ones who are positive. 69% are on treatment, 67% are on treatment, and 62% are virally suppressed. So you can see
very big
the gap between the adults and the young people. That's why we really have to tailor these messages for the young people.
To the young people.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So Oscar, before I talk to you about condoms and all these other resources that the young people need, very quickly on Peter. So Peter, you were born with HIV and AIDS, right? But when was the information disclosed to you that you are positive, and how was it growing up?
I remember it was 205.
Okay.
205 when I was disclosed.
All right.
And that's after I used to have so many bruises on my mouth.
Oh, okay.
So every time you wake up, today it's here, tomorrow it's here, next time it's here.
Yeah.
So every day it has its own place to be.
Yeah.
And that is because my mother didn't know that I was infected that moment.
Okay.
Until she decided that let me now take my child to the health facility.
To just understand what is happening with all the sores. Okay.
Because every time she was like, let me buy some drugs in the pharmacy. I'll see how you're doing. Today it's be good, tomorrow it's another story.
Yeah.
So when she decided like that, and then that moment where HIV is, it was MSF.
All right.
When they tested, they found that I'm HIV positive. So the doctor was like, have you ever been taught about HIV? And yes, I was at school.
Yeah. How old were you?
I can't remember very well, but maybe let me say 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the HTS was like, if you are taught about HIV, what do you know about HIV? That moment there was no more information about HIV. It was like when you have HIV, HIV kills.
It's a death sentence.
Yeah, it's a death sentence.
Yeah.
So after I told her like that, no, she tried her best to tell me that no, many people are living there, it will be okay. And I was like, no. As much as whatever I was taught in school, it's whatever is sticking in my mind. So now, right now, I'm going to die. So stop telling me that I'll be fine.
You'll be okay.
No.
Yeah.
So like my mom made a long day just to give me advice that my child will be okay.
Yeah.
You know, it was so hard. And I remember when we come in the science book, textbook, there was a guy has been drawn very
thin and sickly. And, yeah.
And I was like, wow, am I going to be like this?
Yeah.
And now that time I remember the adolescent was now coming.
I know, yeah.
Then I'm like, what? This is my end. If this is my end, then I'll need to stop doing anything. Because now I'm giving my mother a headache. I'm wasting a lot of money going to school when I know that after some few days I'm going to die. So even the medication, that time it was Septrin, because it was not test and treat. It was for some time when your VL is good, I will give you, I mean not VL, CD4. When it's good, I will give you some Septrin, you take for say a while before we start you on ART. And that moment I didn't take the Septrin because also one thing, it was big. I was still a child. I didn't know whatever it's going to help me in my body, I'm going to die. So I never used to take the Septrin. So for some time I grew up like that, disturbing my mother. Me, I'm going to die. So after a while, my mom life came so hard because she was a single parent. And after that, she decided to go back to the village. So after going back, she felt like now the life is becoming so hard for her to handle even the two kids. We are two kids.
All right.
And then she was like, what? Life is so hard. After sometimes she was bedridden for a month. Then I felt like now this is the pressure that my mother is going to die. She's going to leave me. How will I survive? Then I decided that let me now start my own life. I came back to Nairobi alone. I told her, no, me, I'm going back to Nairobi. I'm going to look for my own ways to earn money, to at least to ensure that you guys at home, you are good, and I'm also good. I came back. After coming back, I found that the MSF has moved away. Now it's AHF. I met our doctor there, Dr. Eunice. That's the first person I met on the room. And she was like, I see your file has been closed. What should we do? Because if you are starting again, you have to promise me one thing.
That you need to adhere
and
to
then
the
I was like,
medication,
yeah, I'm good. I won't take my medication. But still, I didn't have. I still had self-stigma. Because as much as I want to take this medication, still the self-stigma is still in me. So after some time, she was like, okay, if you want to take medication, come tomorrow. Then the next day I came very early in the morning. I talked to her, and she was like, okay, we're going to start you on medication.
Okay.
After starting, now I started engaging myself on support groups. These support groups helps a lot to the people living with HIV.
Yeah.
After engaging with some of the young people living with HIV also, I found out that I'm not alone. We are many.
Yeah.
And if you are many, then let me also join the team.
Yeah, and support one another.
support
Because again,
one
walking the
another,
journey alone might not be easy. And I wonder if this is what you see mostly, where again, like Peter says, there's that external stigma, but there's also internal as well. A lot of people struggle with about just taking medication and just making clear that I am on this medication because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder whether the trends have changed now, where people are more open about it as compared to just, sticking it to themselves, not talking about it, maybe adherence as well, which we'll talk about adherence as well to the medication. But ask her, what are some of the trends that you're seeing, and especially among the young people?
The young people. We call that acceptance.
Yeah.
So once you have known your status, acceptance doesn't come easy.
True.
But thankfully in our sites and even the government sites, we have counselors.
Yeah.
And that is their main work. So once you have been diagnosed, then you're taken through very many, like 3 adherence counseling sessions that are very short spaced. Like maybe a week, 2 weeks, then monthly. You have someone to work with you until then you accept.
Yeah.
But also, as he has said, we have support groups, which help. Sometimes it's okay to hear from a healthcare worker, but it's even better to hear from someone else who is also taking medicine, and even better, someone who's been taking medicine for like 20 years, 16 years, and you look at them and they're like, oh.
And they're okay, and they're healthy, not from that picture that Peter saw of this person.
I can, and someone who is successful, who is driving, and you're like, okay, it is not such a big deal. So there's those mechanisms that we have put in place from the day of testing, and then continuously.
Okay.
And then remember, life also happens. There's something we call drug holidays that happens also for someone who's taken drugs for long, and you feel like you're burnt out. It's like, you're fatigued. So when that happens also, there's also mechanisms that we've put in place. Counseling in chronic illnesses, HIV specifically, is key. It is everything. But other than that, maybe I go back to
the prevention aspect, because it's important to talk about prevention. I know the
prevention aspect.
Yes.
So AHF is key in all aspects of HIV. We start with prevention, where condoms come in, and also now the information, the messaging, as you said. So condoms, we have had issues in the last, maybe 2019 up until just recently. So as AHF, we have been buffering or boostering the government of Kenya with condoms. We have our own condoms, but they're imported.
Okay.
So the issue that we've had in the recent past is the taxes.
Taxation.
Taxation is so heavy. When you look at the amount that you use to even buy the condom themselves, the taxes outweigh that.
Okay.
So what we are saying, since this is national TV, please just bring down the taxes so that we are able to import as many condoms as possible. So that now everywhere we'll be able to have condoms.
Okay.
The government cannot work on its own. That's why partners come
on board.
And we are, AHF is in, we are all in. So we just need a little bit of a support. Taxes to come down, then condoms, you'll have so many of them.
I mean, we're talking about this, like even
So many.
public toilets.
Yes.
Where we used to have dispensers. Now we don't have any.
The dispensers are there, but they're
But the,
empty.
the condoms are not,
So
not there.
that is what we need. Then the other thing I would like to say is, as AHF also, we have some things in place that we have put.
Okay.
Maybe Dr. Bosira, you'll agree with me, comprehensive sexuality education is key.
It's very important,
Because if you look at the age group that we're talking about, most of these children are in school. So if we struck out comprehensive sexuality education, then we will not be able to give the age-appropriate information that our young people need. Comprehensive sexuality education does not mean that now, as you said, giving leeway to now let's go and have sex. No. It gives age-appropriate. Same as parents. When your child gets to a certain age, you start telling them, my son, my daughter, this is your susu. I know there's a way that parents
talk to them and
talk to their children. And don't let anyone touch your personables or your susu or your whatever. So now, comprehensive sexuality education is like that. It gives you age-appropriate information according to your age. And then you increase the information as you grow older, If you struck this out, then our young people start looking for this information anywhere, somewhere else, from peers, from other people, which is misinformation, and they end up doing the wrong thing.
I mean, there's that conversation in Parliament just recently,
Yes.
as far as comprehensive sexuality education. So just going to speak on the same very quickly and how important this is.
It's important that in all spaces that we get, we use opportunities to pass these right messages, which are age appropriate, culturally sensitive. It does not have to be insensitive to the culture, but you pass a message just like we were being taught by our grandparents, our parents, our brothers, our siblings. When we were younger, back in the village, they used to pass messages in the appropriate, using the appropriate language and medium. And that's what we are calling sexuality education. Call it any other name, even if you don't call it CSC, but let it take place. A rose by any other name smells as sweet. So let us pass the messages the way they are so that we may help our youth. Back to the issue of condoms, because it's about policy, it's about government. This is where government takes a bold leadership. This is one of the shocks that the country got due to the COVID-19 pandemic, because borders were closed. And countries which were manufacturing these commodities closed their borders and kept their resources to themselves because they did not know when the pandemic would be over, such that our, our system now got that shock because we will not access the commodities that we were accessing freely. And that is why I'm happy that the Kenya Kwanza government, through His Excellency, the President William Samoei Ruto, has picked this up personally. And I know there's a conversation that is going on how we can make them more accessible, on how we can even encourage local manufacturing of condoms so that these items are available as and when needed, because it's a fact that we need these items, not only the young people, but also even us as adults. We have sex, so we need these condoms, and it's not, if you do not, the condoms are safe because an equally effective tool again is three things. One, they prevent pregnancy. Number two, they prevent STIs, and number three, they will prevent HIV, which is which is what we are talking about right now. So we really need to be open and have this conversation and encourage access. And one of the other things that the government is doing for sustainability is investing in the community health strategy through the community health promoters. These are barefoot doctors, call them so, who walk village to village, door to door, household to household, passing messages. You talked about adherence. When the community health promoter, who might be a person living with HIV, who might be an SGBV survivor, who might be a young girl who got pregnant when she was a teenager, so she's a survivor of adolescent pregnancies. So she's a peer, she's a mentor. She'll come to the homestead and tell you, hey, I was in the same state like you, but I took medicine. So please, have you taken your dose of TB drugs? Have you taken, did you remember to take your ARVs? If you are pregnant, have you gone for ANC? Because when you go for ANC and you know your status early, intervention start early, then we have a higher chance of preventing mother-to-child transmission. It's unfortunate as we talk, Winnie, counties that hitherto we thought were safe from the HIV epidemic, there are trends that we are seeing which are not very interesting. For example, in a county like Mandera, almost 1 out of every 2 children who are born to HIV positive mothers, 38%, are HIV positive.
That's a very big number.
Yes, and if you go to Wajir, it's 1 in every 3. It's about 29%. If you go to Samburu, it's 1 in every 4, 25%. If you go here to Narok, it is 1 in every 5, 20% of children born to HIV positive mothers in this day and era actually getting picking the virus. They're becoming HIV positive. Our aspiration is to be, our target is to be below 5%. Right now, nationally, we are at 8.6%. We have done it fairly well again, but there are spots, there are counties that we need to focus more, and more of those are the ones which we did not think the epidemic was important to them before. So there are these changing, and I'm happy to say even counties where we have put efforts, and effort pays. A county like Siaya, we will be releasing some data during the Maisha conference, which is coming up at the end of this month. Maisha conference is the largest gathering of scientific gathering for HIV and policymakers on HIV in this region. It will be taking place in Mombasa between 29th and 31st of this month. So one of the pieces of information that will be released will show that Siaya County has become the first county actually to break that barrier of sub 5%. For mother-to-child transmission. Right now, they are at 4.3%, which means hard work pays. Because there have been sustained efforts there, and it's a best practice, and we want other counties to follow. Quick.
AIDS by 2030, which is not too far off from here and now. So that, again, we make the messaging relatable, right, to the young people, and also appropriate at the same time. I can see our time is far much spent, so I'm just going to go to Peter very quickly. So, living positively, understanding and knowing what you know, and knowing your needs as an individual, and also speaking to the young people. What are some of those things that should be put in place to address your needs and also the needs when it comes to preventing HIV and AIDS?
Okay, first I'll say that as Aska said, the availability of condoms. When you every Friday to Sunday, you know, young people tunapenda sherehe. But when you go in these clubs or house parties, where do you find those condoms?
They're not there.
And maybe let me say it's a quickie. And then where will you get this condom? It's not there.
It's not there.
So it's one of the things that we need as young people. Maybe hii ni kitu ya haraka. Nataka hii condom. Ndatoa wapi? Tunafaa kutupatiwe. The government at least let them ensure that young people
they are
can
readily
access
available.
the condoms.
And very quickly, just a personal question, because I remember I was speaking to a very young girl who is HIV positive, but her viral load was suppressed. But even still, she said, having these conversations, people will still look at you and be like, I don't believe you, you know, to that level where you can have intercourse with no protection, but your partner will still be safe. So that you equals you still, you know, a lot of people still don't believe in it. So just personally to you, do you feel pressured a lot of the times to take responsibility for the other person, in the sense that you have to make sure there is protection? I don't know where your viral load is at, if it's suppressed.
It's suppressed.
Oh, nice. That's really good. So do you feel that pressure, you know, first of all, just openly talk about it and say, this is my status, this is where my viral load is, it's suppressed, so that means you are safe? Because that girl was saying, listen, I feel pressured every single day, that people still don't believe that you can have viral load that is suppressed and this other person is safe. So very quickly, I don't know, I wonder what that is like for you personally.
Yes, I feel pressured because when we introduced you is equals to you, so many young people say that kama uko positive na mimi niko negative,
it does not matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you see, it's also contradicting kwa sababu now, will you use condom or will you not use?
Yeah.
That's another question that young people are fighting.
Yeah.
We have to use one thing, and now we are bringing so many things that are confusing also young people. You is equals to use here, use of condom,
untransmissible, and then
so
it's a lot of things.
So you wonder which
and then
one?
There's PrEP, exposure prophylaxis.
There's PrEP.
Okay, and
so
PrEP
which is which?
well. Yeah.
Which one will the young person use?
Yeah.
Will they use all of them?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, but wouldn't you rather have options?
I'll say U is equals to you. Young people use U is equals to you. I know.
Maybe just to quickly chime in.
Yeah.
Maybe I would say U is to you works best when you have one partner, and it's not just many partners.
Yeah.
So we are U is to you does not replace condom use.
Yeah.
Because condom use helps to, as Dr. Bosire said, pregnancy.
I think yes.
Now there's supergonorrhea.
Yes.
So there's, fine, you will not infect or you'll not be infected, but you may get other STIs and you may also get pregnant.
Yeah.
So let's not use U is to you to also expose ourselves as young people. If you have one partner that you have disclosed your status to and they're negative and you're exclusive, U is to you can work. And also if you're ready to be parents.
Yeah.
That's what we also teach at AHF. Abstinence still is number one, if you can.
Yeah.
If not, then let's use a condom every time.
Okay.
So that we don't have unintended pregnancies.
Yeah.
To also address now the triple threat.
Yeah.
If you look across the board, then condoms help us to address the triple threat.
other issues.
So that is number one. So as AHF, maybe the other thing I would add is we have safe spaces. Every month we meet with our young people, Cousin included, where they feel open to discuss their things.
Yeah.
No, I have this thing, what do I do? You have a counselor there to help you. We have mental health issues. That also is now a key thing also to our young people. Saizi hakuna makazi.
That's true.
Our young people don't have jobs. So there are many things that are encompassing the young people, leave alone the HIV status. So if this young person does not have a job, definitely he will not eat, definitely he will not take his medication.
True.
So now there are so many other issues that are affecting these young people, and these safe spaces really address all this. We do not work in isolation. Number one is the government of Kenya, because we follow the guidelines, we follow everything as an NGO. That is number one.
Okay.
And then other than that, we are also partnering with other partners, because you cannot do everything. So as you do HIV, then there's someone else who is doing income generating activities. There's someone who's taking the young people to school. So if we are able to map out all the facilities, all the NGOs with whatever everyone is doing, then we come together and support these young people wholesomely, so that as we deal with HIV, then the government is dealing with condoms, then maybe another Tumikia Mtoto is taking them to school, so that at the end of the day, this young person is taken care of holistically. Yes, because HIV is not, you can't deal with HIV in isolation.
That's true. And then it's our collective, goal at the end of the day, by 2030 to have a HIV-free nation.
I want to add on the conversation of undetectable is equals to untransmittable, U is equals to U. It's not just about viral load suppression, but it's about viral load suppression to a certain minimum. And that minimum has to be constantly monitored. That means you have to have access to viral load testing on a regular basis to make sure that you are in the minimum of undetectability for you now to say you can engage safely without transmitting the virus. Unfortunately, as you know, we don't have a robust viral load testing system in Africa, leave alone in this country, in Kenya, but in Africa. And these are the global conversations that we have. We normally have, that when we are promoting, when the UNAIDS and the WHO is promoting a certain strategy, then it has to be contextual, it has to be context specific. For example, for us, Africa, it's not time for a robust rollout of that until the basic infrastructure has been put in place. And we are having a couple who are called discordant couples. A couple, one is positive, the other one is negative. That is encouraged, and it's a means for you to keep yourself on treatment, because it is the treatment that will lead you to have undetectable viral levels. There are many strategies, and I like what you talked about, messaging, and that is why we come to you. as the media, because we do know the media is a very powerful tool of communication and putting a language the young people understand. You have different segments of programs that are tailored to certain specific cohorts of the population, and therefore you come in handy in unbundling this technical information for the young people to understand and giving them an opportunity also to engage. So we are really happy. We are really happy. But what impresses me, imagine a survey was done and it showed that 75% of the young people who had early sexual debut indicated that they had it because of curiosity.
True.
75%.
That's true.
But the positive side is when they were told, looking back, would you have delayed? 77% of them said they would have delayed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what does that mean? Information. Talking to them. Making them see the pros and cons of that early sexual debut. Then it means that it can succeed. And so together, really, that's why the multi-sectoral approach is there, the triple thread you talk about, the whole society approach, government, non-state actors, media, religious leaders, all of us coming together to end new HIV infection among young people, adolescent pregnancies, and sexual and gender-based violence.
Absolutely.
Which are drivers of these new infections.
No, that's true.
Thank you.
And then when we talk about inclusion,
yes.
which again, Peter was like, "Nyi mnenda boardroom, you sit, and then you come with these policies, lafu mnatuambia haya." This is what needs to be done. So yeah, when we talk about inclusion of the young people, very quickly, I want you to comment to the same, and then I'll come back to Peter.
You know, it's the youth nowadays, they say, and we agree with them, that nothing for them without them.
Without them, true.
They are on the table. And that's why Peter is working very closely with the HF, our partners. We have groups of youth across the country whom we are trying to build as champions. As NSDCC, we have youth we call Maisha Youth Champions in every county. So in every county you go, you'll get, these youths who are leading the conversation, who are leading in the formation of groups. But most importantly is to make the services accessible. That we as parents, let's not stay on the high moral ground of demonizing our children just because they're engaging in sex.
Or ignorant, that they're not, having these conversations, or they're not having, sexual.
Yes, we had sex early also. Even our parents, they had sex early. Maybe it's because HIV was not so prevalent at that time, and therefore they did not get it. But they got STIs, they got gonorrhea, the syphilis, which were treatable. But now, really, it should be an honest discussion to save this generation so that the country can attain Vision 2030 and become that newly industrialized middle-income country with high quality of life.
And we said age-appropriate information, and one might be curious to understand, so then at what age do we start this conversation?
As early as possible. As early as possible. As soon as the kids are talking, please start, because human sexuality begins in the womb.
I mean,
Yes.
If it was possible to start that in the womb, talk about it when they're still in the womb, you would.
And maybe I add something.
Right. Yes.
I think it's important that he's brought up a very important point. Parents, let's not shy away from having the sex talk with our children. Sit that girl down, sit that boy down, and tell them. Be as free as possible. I don't think, oh, mom, wherever you are, no pun intended, but I don't think we really sat down and said, by the way, it
was uncomfortable.
You should, right? It was left to the aunties, and I think my auntie started to mention something when I was about to get married. Sasa unajua, you are going to get married and you're going to be doing that thing. So I'm wondering, what's that thing? So I think it's important that as parents, let's not shy away, because this youth, they're either at home or they're in school. And then with their friends. So let's embrace this education everywhere where they are. So when they go to school, their teacher is doing their part. At home,
you're doing your part.
Your parent is doing your part. And then in wherever else they are. In church, in the community. That when we do that, then it will be easy. Like even back then, discipline was for everyone. if I go to Dr. Bosiria's house and he sees I'm not doing so, he was free to
discipline you.
to give me a kakiboko. Right now, you can't do that.
No, listen.
You can't do that. So let's everybody do their
part. Okay, and Peter, I'm going to have you have the last word because you are young people, and today's conversation was specifically dedicated to the young people. So in 30 seconds, in terms of the messaging, the information, level of awareness, but most importantly, preventing new infections, what would you say in 30 seconds? Because we literally need to get out.
So what I can say, mostly I can inform young people. To me, a CD.
Okay.
CD is one of the things, at least it's 99%. Whatever Dr. Bosiria said, it prevents a lot. So let's use CD and kama una nunua. And also I also like to appreciate HF because they've given us young people the opportunity. They can't do anything for the young people without engaging.
The young people. Okay.
They will start from the board until the implementation.
Okay.
So that's one of the things I would like also to other organizations to do. Engage young people in everything, in any conversation that you want young people to do. Yes.
Because you have the info, you know what you need, and you have the solutions as well that is needed. Okay, I see that. Peter Mwangi, HIV and its youth champion, Aska Omwacha, nursing officer at HF Kenya Maria Clinic, as well as Douglas Bosiri, officer in charge of the County Support Program's National Syndemic Disease Control Council. Quite a mouthful. Thank you so much for coming by today. Really, really interesting conversation that should be had every single day, and we hope that you'll come back again so that we continue with this conversation. So much to cover in very little time, but we'll have multiple conversations. But for now, allow us to say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming by, and thank you as well for staying with us until the end of the show. Remember, the conversation continues online at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. But for now, have yourselves a lovely day ahead, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. But until then, stay safe and goodbye.
Thank you.
Boys and girls, are you ready to unlock the gates to endless fun at GMC Place Kitengela? Just 3.2 kilometers from Kitengela town along Namanga Highway, or call 0701 560 560 for reservations.
Just look at how your boyfriend ended up, honey. He'll be asleep for quite a while. Tell me what you think we should do with the time we'll have.
I'm begging you to hear me out. I want to tell you what happened so that,
So that what? So that I can forgive you? I don't want to hear anything!
Head over heels.
Whatever he does for the rest of his career, Harry Kane will always be considered one of England's finest and most favourite footballers. For club and country, Kane has been an excellent servant and performer. But now it is time for Kane to start from scratch at a new club in a new country, perhaps poised to become a favourite at Bayern Munich.
To protect our family from germs that cause illness when it's cold, we use Dettol soap.
Dettol soap with germ defense gives you protection. When it's cold, germs are transferred in different ways.